The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Good afternoon, traders. Bob says, I am here. Hurricane be damned. Love it. That's the right mentality. Is the weather bad? Are you getting rained on? Power outages? Winds? What's it looking like? Wonderful Wednesday to you, Dennis. Good afternoon, Koo. Good to see you as always. It's pretty nice where I am. 80 degrees, sunny. It's still a little hot. Wind, rain, branches down. Power flashed on and off a few times, getting better. Okay, we'll stay safe. Stay dry. Not bad in Orlando. Yeah, there you go. Well, whatever it is, the market, the weather, we're missing people, so hopefully everyone's okay. Welcome out, everyone, to the Tradespoon live trading room, stocks and options closing bell. My name is Scott. I am the head trading coach here at Tradespoon. I will be your host. This is my information, trading for a while, teaching for a while. These are the disclosures. Pay heed. You know the drill. And let's, if I can get out of this, let's get into it. What do we know? Well, we had a little bit of a recovery all of a sudden. Interesting price action on Friday of last week. I still had some concerns. The situation has improved. We'll take a look at a couple of key indicators, the VIX being one of them, where I was enticed and then closed pretty quickly afterwards with my signal being invalidated. Overall, my posture stabilized, only dropped a little bit, still positive. So I'm overall more bullish than not. I'll tell you what, technology, industrials, financials, all of a sudden we're seeing some movement. It's in different areas. So are we possibly done? I mean, look, maybe it dips again in September, but not as much. And that gives us our ability to move into more aggressively bullish positions. I don't know. We're going to see. That's what we're here to talk about. Overall, here's what we do know. S&P is up about a half. The Dow only about 0.15. NASDAQ a little over a half. Russell also about a half. We had a downward revision to the GDP. We were expecting it to come in at 2.4, and it came in at 2.1. So what does that mean? Growing, but not as well as expected. Well, again, you can see that the news has the market still 90% approximately probability of no more rate hikes, which would help the situation to see the Fed accommodating, more accommodative. What else do we have? ADP employment came back a little lower than expected. So that's the first time. They've been underestimating pretty significantly month after month. All of a sudden they said 2, they got 177. There hasn't been a huge correlation between this and non-farm payrolls, which is supposed to come in at 170. Either way, that number is enough to maintain, right? To facilitate maintenance. We haven't seen our jobless claims surge. We're still seeing up around 150 to 200,000 jobs. Unemployment's actually expected to tick down to 3.5. There's nothing concerning yet. Do we see some diminishment, and are we likely to see that? Yeah, okay. Let's keep our eye on that and see how much does the employment situation regress. If I didn't say it, hi LK. I can't remember if I did or not. The rest of this week, we still have spending tomorrow, income tomorrow, PCE tomorrow, inflationary data. We have non-farm payrolls on Friday. That also includes some wage data and a little bit of manufacturing, but basically it's the employment data. Plenty still coming. What does the model see? Let's ask ourselves. Let's pull up that information. So here's the SPY. So the SPY, Stella says we may still have a small consolidation from here, or it might come up a couple of days and then go small, but still looking for the bullish kick. Overall, I would say moving into more bullish again. And yeah, based on what I'm seeing this week, I think that I would see my score move a little bit more bullish as well. I think this makes sense. So bullish on the S&P. Let's go look at the Qs. Sometimes you've got to adapt pretty quickly. The NASDAQ for a while there was getting hurt. Now all of a sudden, it's like, hey, Microsoft coming back, Apple coming back, NVIDIA coming back. And then what happens? That's the NASDAQ for you. We're seeing that there still could be some kind of a short-term consolidation here over the next 3 to 5 days, whether that's sideways, it goes up a little bit and comes down, starts coming down, but ultimately looking for that bullish kick coming out of it. Again, I would say overall more bullish than not. That makes sense. Does that mean we're just slapping on bullish trades? No, we still have to follow the adherence to entry rules. What are your entry rules? Right now, most things have already been moving. You should have already been in some bullish things or put them in as the Heiken Ashley started turning, giving you some momentum. I feel like we may be a little late. Maybe we see something that looks good, but we may be a little late as it stands, unless you really think it's going to get. I mean, if you think it's going to consolidate over the next few days, you're going to wait. If you think it's just going to keep on running, maybe you still look to put something on. Let's look at the Dow and the Russell. I didn't miss anything in the news, did I? I don't think I did. I'm just going to scan. Yeah, no, there's not much at all. Employers are cutting salary offers by as much as 47. Okay, that's harsh. Harsh, but not affecting the market as of now. Okay, let's finish. Here's the Dow. The Dow, same thing, little pullback, little bit pushing, still more bullish than not. Here's the Russell. I mean, it's a little lackluster there. As far as looking for a recovery, it's certainly what we've seen was these consolidations that we now seem to be breaking out of. I like trading out of these consolidations. Are we done? Is there a chance it might have one more drop and then we start to move towards the second half of September? Does that match the cyclical? We'll look at that in just a second. But this is all in the realm of reason. Here's the cyclical. You can see on the S&P that there's times where we will go up one more time, just like we have been. And then an unexpected drop, possibly a big unexpected drop. We're not out of the woods yet. We still have to be a little bit careful here, right? Let's not take anything for granted, but we could still have some bullishness here in front of us. Watch out for this dip. Do we get a higher high? Do we get the same high? There's potential here from where we are now. But we have to be concerned that there's one more dip, whether it's that. However, I'm definitely I'm feeling it. I'm here. here for a bullish fall. I would love to see a bullish fall. I would absolutely like nothing more than to have and trade a bullish fall. So here's to hoping. Bob agrees, don't like the dip. Yeah, we'll see, right? What is this? What is it going to be? Are we going to have one? If so, what does it look like? You can see we are very much in line with what's been happening here. So this is a pattern, and I'm going to keep my eye on that pattern. Heat map today, what's happening? More strength in areas we need strength. Apple, Nvidia, Google, right? Some financials doing a little better. Overall software, chips doing better. Healthcare not doing much. Defensive not doing much. Utilities down. Energy's okay. Consumer cyclicals starting to see a little recovery. Industrials. We're wondering if the sector flow is going to move back into these growth areas or slightly different, because I feel like consumer defensive or consumer discretionary or cyclical on this chart is behind right now, and a little bit communication services, although Google is helping today. I would say technology, industrials, and financials are the three groups right now that seem to be popping into leadership positions. And I would absolutely say that those three sectors, technology, financial, and industrial, that's all we need. That's enough breadth for a fall rally, I can tell you that. Are we seeing that strength as aggressive or complacent? I would say that's more risk tolerant than risk adverse, right? Which is kind of what we're talking about when we talk about how we move into sectors, right, Ted? And so complacent, I would say, I would say complacent and defensive are really more what I would expect to go hand in hand, but maybe not necessarily. I don't know. I think those are growth segments. I'm good with them as having, look, technology can carry the market. That I know. If technology has two other components, whether it's communication services and consumer cyclical or financial and industrials, I'm actually, I would say, agnostic to that. Yeah. Okay, let's go look at it. Let's go take a look at what's happening. Get ourselves a quiz. Talk about the VIX. Talk about a watch list. Okay, now I say I struggle with one-day consolidations. You've heard me say it, but it did. I draw lines of consolidation. It did get above that consolidation. It pulled back. It held and turned. So that's valid right there for a new signal. That's a hard signal to take. Like I said, I don't love one-day consolidations. If you had a couple of trades that you maybe put on back here on this first bounce because there was still some bullishness to your posture, you were maintaining balance, whatever. Right now, what you would be doing is managing these trades. I closed my hedge when the VIX took out the low of the signal. So I'll show you that in a minute. So I did take losses, though, on the hedge. I had one piece. I took one piece of profit on one hedge. The rest of it took a loss. And that's the cost of hedging. Doesn't always pay off. Sometimes it's there to just keep you in the game. I had bullish trades on. So balance. Okay, so what's going on now? Still looks good. What's missing? Anybody give me something that you look at this chart and you think, here's what's missing for me. I'm gonna let that question percolate. Let's think critically about what's happening on this chart. It did break the consolidation, right? It did get back above the 50, tested back down, held. LK wins the prize for first. Anybody else missing? The volume's not great. We're right. This is kind of like, are we breaking out of the consolidation? I would rather see a breakout. And you're like, well, there's volume there. The problem is that volume actually corresponded to the engulfing pattern. That was like concerning volume. Actually, the first one was that, and then the second one was the doji. So for these 2 days, there was volume, and then immediately on the next one, that volume dropped off. Yesterday, it was average. Today, below average again. We don't have a lot of buying pressure. So is this shakeable? Yeah, absolutely. Right? Is this something that we're concerned that it could maybe do something like this, but without that volume, we're maybe concerned that that September drop does put us back to old lows, or maybe even worse as a shakeout, and then we see it recover moving into October, right? Volume. I'm a little concerned about it. That prevents my market posture from improving, because without the volume, I can't. It's still getting scored more favorably to sellers. So yeah, okay. Let's get a quiz. Let's see how we see it. How bullish are we? I guess that's the question. How bullish are we? Okay. Still light today. I'm going to draw the line here. A's, you need a breakout basically. And I'm going to go right across those candles, but through those. B, C. Here's the numbers. 451.38. We'll call it 451.40. And 450.30. About $1.10 range. 451.40 by 450.30. Okay. I've got Dennis as a B. I've got LK as a B. I'm actually going to go C. Oh, Ted at the same time. Ted and I are both going C. I think you can see it's tested this level 4 times today. Once right in the beginning, we smashed right up to it, and then it's like scurried off. And then it worked up its nerve again, working. Come on, we can do it. Come on, everybody get ready. And let's go. And they just sort of, and they kind of faltered, tested some lows, and they're coming in again. We're going to try for it. And they hit it. It's just sort of rolling off of it again. That's like the 4th time today. And it can't seem to get through it. And I think maybe at the end of the day, you're going to see just a little push. I'm going to go with a C. That's my narrative. Did you like the story behind that? Bob is an A. Brad is a B. Ted is a C. Yeah, right. I guess so. That's it. All right. Let me get a prediction out of the hourly, the intraday. Oof. Stella looks for the bounce. 451.70. 451.70. Stella's an A. Bob's an A. Stella's an A. All right. Anyone else? This will be an interesting one, actually. It's kind of either it breaks out, holds pretty strong, flounders around as it tries to break that level that it can't seem to break all day, or the sellers decide we're going to make a run at it late in the game. All right. Game on. Good one today. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's talk about the other primary component I think should be evaluated daily. That is, of course, the VIX. And there you can see what's going on. The VIX looks quite strong right now. What's happened? Right, we were down here. It kind of busted out of nowhere. I didn't get any early signals. Sometimes I'm looking for a higher low over here. like this. Didn't happen. Came back down, but it gave one there. And that's where I did put a hedge trade on. Took a little bit of it off for some profit, held the rest, came down, and it did it again. Now it didn't give a turn here, but that was a big bullish engulfing pattern. And so I actually took the trade. The next day it held, made a tweezer hold kind of pattern, and then it broke below the low, taking out that signal. So I closed the remainder of the trade. In fact, that signal makes this a lower high. Very quickly, yeah, absolutely. I mean, clearly, look at how quickly it's back down to 14. What is this telling us about the institutions? They're feeling all right again. Whatever started to come. And here's an interesting observation. I'm going to change colors. And this is abnormal, right? Normally, when the VIX starts to accelerate, the concern is that it's going to accelerate in an expanding fashion. But you'll notice it really didn't. It just sort of trended for a minute, and now it's broken down below that trend. It never actually, and this is where I believe it would have happened. It would have expanded and took off, but it didn't. It actually just sort of fizzled out, made a little last-ditch attempt, and then rolled over. Yeah, I would say that's the institutions just sort of they braced for something that never came. This is gonna improve. My VIX score started to get really, I think it actually did. It turned negative this last, but it's going to go back into a positive score. It looks much more favorable now. However, it also looks like it's made a pretty good size move down here to the downside. Maybe it goes a little further and it gets somewhere into this range. It's already almost there. What would I be looking for next? If it turns up, makes another lower high, that's increased confirmation. I'd be thinking that looks bullish and we're ready to move down. We could be bullish all fall long, fluctuating between 12 and 15, 12 and 16. Magnificent. It would be great for trading. I can very much would look forward to it. So yeah, okay, we'll see what happens here. But like I said, it feels like it's starting to get a little late to want to jump into a bullish trade. You may only have a day or two more. It may not even last that long before we see a little bit of a cycle the other way. Yeah, so that's certainly something. My time frame, when it was bullish, my time frame got to 7, 8 days, 9 days. I'm back down to 3 to 4 days. Right, I'm not looking to hold on to things for a long time. If I get it, catch some profit, I'm going to take at least half, tighten stops, make sure you're controlling trades right now. Let me weigh in. Let me get a temperature check from the room. How are you trading right now? Did you try to go to the downside? Did you take losses? Are you trading to the upside? Do you have trades on now that are working as this market is recovering? What are you seeing and what's working? What mistakes are made? Anything you want to throw out there? Give me a temperature check. Let me know how things are going. Let's jump into the watch list. We have a watch list, operating watch list of mostly high liquidity. There's a few in there, here and there, that are not quite as much. Trading both directions. LK said, yeah, I get it. Makes sense. Short-term or day trading, lightly, taking small profits often. Fluid, nimble. Yeah. Apple, I said it. Feels like something's kind of developing. Even back here, when it just first broke out of this, it's like that thing, could we have taken this as a trade? Yes, I did not. It's moving. It's still moving. Well, I think we're going to start running into some issues pretty quickly here. And when it does and pulls back, absolutely, there's a magnificent trade waiting. So if I miss something early on, Hopefully we got some into the bullish run we're on right now, and hopefully we got it as early as we could have. If you're waiting till now on day 4, it just feels late, right? We need to try to catch it as early into this beginning move. We cannot wait to be convinced. What is your confirmation that you're looking for that will get you into these trades? And then you're able to start adjusting stops and thinking about profit targets to the upside. Aflac. But this is a pattern. Technology, we're starting to see it even here with like financials. There's going to be financials that are starting to make the volume, but it's still just kind of making that move. When will I know this is good? When the sellers test it. If the sellers push it all the way back down or even lower still, we don't have a trade here. That was a false signal. The only way this can be a trade is if the sellers give us confirmation in their inactivity by failing. When the sellers fail and it turns back up again, that is when we have opportunity. You can go back and see many instances of that being the key point, right? The key point. Even here, they came up, you had to be waiting, you had to be patient. But if you were patient and you wait for it to come down, it gives you the next signal. And from here, you had a trade and then another trade. That's all we're looking for. Already been moving for 6 days. So maybe you could get in, try to ride it for 3 or 4 days, tightening stops along the way. If you're going to do something like that, manage it tightly. You do not want to let it get away from you because we're pretty sure it's going to have that retracement. The retracement is the final piece of whether or not we believe buyers have regained control. Anytime we have little consolidations like these, or this one back here, we want to be sure it's over. And that opens the door for a couple of moves, maybe for 3 moves. We never know how many, but that's kind of the pattern that we're expecting to find. It's never just like, oh, trade after trade after trade. We get 2, 3, maybe 4 consolidates. We've got to weather the storm, be ready to be convinced that it's now starting the other way again. That's where I am for a lot of these technology, financials, industrials. You'll see as we go through. Now, some of these, like the AI stocks, it's not there yet. We don't see the buyers trying to make a run at this. It's still just pushing at these lows. The buyers are struggling. We're not trying to get antsy to trade anything. We're looking to see what is going to lead. Now, if technology starts leading, maybe these AI stocks, AI stocks do give you that turnaround. They do break and start to move the other way. AIG, not really yet. I mean, you can make the argument that it's gotten through its consolidation level, but at the same time, part of that equation is the buyers have done something more. I wouldn't say extraordinary, but something more. You can see they've done a little. There's not a lot of volume. I don't know. I'm iffy on this one. On the fence. AMAT, it definitely broke out. It held. Didn't give much, but it gave you a little bit of time to try to catch that. It's choppy. If someone avoided this because it's just the general chop in the stock, I get it. That's not for everyone, without a doubt. Amazon. So Amazon for me, and this is part of consumer not in place yet, this still just looks like it's meandering inside of this consolidation. Let's be convinced that the buyers are trying to come back in. Then when they take a break, we'll see what the sellers do. And as long as that holds up, then we're ready for whatever comes next. That's the pattern. That is the pattern I'm expecting to see. Boeing, I would say, has met the first criteria. The buyers came in pretty well. It's up here. Now what? Now if we see a small pullback, okay, good enough. Good enough. Same kind of a thing. It pops out of it, it pulls back. That's that first time. And you can see that gave 2 good trades. Popped up, pulled back, popped up again. 2 good trades out of that. Maybe even on this next one, you got a third opportunity. That's all we're looking for, is Does it start to show the pattern that the buyers have taken control? Yes or no? If you're not convinced that the buyers are there in control, then it's a no for you. And wait, be patient. Yeah, hopefully this is making sense. This is done enough. It's busted through. That's the first sign of life. I'm still not like, hey, let's jump in, everybody. I'm thinking this maybe goes a little higher. Then I'm going to wait for it to consolidate back down. I'm going to wait for it to catch that little bit that says, yeah, the sellers aren't there. The buyers are ready to move in. And I think now I can catch that again. Be patient. Be patient. These trades will come to us. I'm going to be patient for them. BX. That's a great looking one. Just broke out for the first time. I didn't miss anything. What am I waiting for? Wait for the pullback and see if financials are going to lead. I'm going to look for some of these stocks that are breaking out and are going to help financials actually make a more sustained move. They ran out of steam last time. Caterpillar, what time is it? Oh, we have plenty of time. I hope this is the right discussion. Right? This is a tougher market, but you can see there are things that are they're breaking back out. This is what you've had. Things that look like this for the last month. So if you're like, I'm a little frustrated, yeah, I get it. Right? We've seen our market posture decline. We've seen this just sort of, but now what? Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, hold on. The buyers are making a run. Great. Maybe I had a piece of a few things. I did. Not a lot of things, but I had some things. Now all I need is this. And I'm ready to give it to say, yeah, let's go. I'm halfway convinced. I don't know. That one's a little sideways still. But again, we're not looking for a reason to trade. CVE was an energy trade. Looked pretty good. It did give you a nice little turn, a nice little signal down here. But at this point, you're 3 days late again. If you're in it, you're managing it. Maybe you get a little bit more out of it. Maybe you sell half and see if you can ride a little bit more, a little higher. That's your thought. If you're in a trade that's profitable, how are you managing it? If you're in a trade that's at a loss, what are you waiting for? Do you think it's coming back? Is it still valid? DIA, the Dow, same kind of things, breaking out. But it's starting to run out of steam a little bit. So we'll see what happens. DKNG. Did the buyers do a little more? That's the question. Yeah, we had this consolidation. It kind of got out of it. Here was questionable, but here it's like, look at it. There's no volume. There's no above average volume. But the buyers have clearly done more here than they have in a while and are showing resilience. If the sellers come in and they only push it down to this level, what does that tell me? It tells me this thing's ready to go again. And I'm going to think, great, opportunity. We're finished in our consolidative process. Yeah, I'm feeling optimistic. Flex broke out. Gold, if anyone likes gold. I'm not me. IBM is one that I've had on the entire time, back from in this area here. We got a nice little hold up signal, higher low above the 50. And this just made a nice little move. Did I sell half of it right there? Heck yeah. Like I said, 3 days. I followed my rules, but I only sold half. And in doing so, gave myself the ability to let the other half go. Now it looks like it's coming to an end. Great. Good trade. Out of it. Now what? Waiting for if this pulls back and gives another signal here, absolutely going to take another trade on it. Love it. IBN, this is financials. It's moved up. It's starting to pull back. Let's keep an eye. Maybe there's something that trades here. I've actually not traded this one. This is new. I'd have to check the spreads on the options. To be fair, I haven't done a lot of due diligence on this one, so let's hold off anyone on getting too gung-ho before we take a look. Been in Eli Lilly since earnings breakout. Is it still valid? Biden's drug plan hurting it some now. Yeah, let's take a look. We're right there alphabetically. ING definitely looks strong, like it broke out, and it had a little bit of volume. All I need now is to wait for I'm not going to trade that. I'm going to trade the consolidation. IWM small caps are trying. They're trying to keep up. Yeah. Does it look and feel a little different? Here's JP Morgan. Some of these financials are just kind of like trying. It's almost like they're mouthing the words, but they're not actually singing. I don't know. I don't know what the analogy is. Here's LLY. Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, it's really just kind of if time's working against you at this point, I'd be concerned that it couldn't get through. It's starting to move down. Sellers look like they're trying to come in. 2 weeks to go in time. Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot. I mean, it's really hasn't done much for the past week and a half. I mean, it's just been stuck right around that level. I'd be a little concerned. Meta's a maybe. Kind of broke, but it's just sort of like stalled out in this middle zone. MPC, starting to see some of these where they're just sort of like they look like they were going to bounce and they didn't, but they're also not dropping, kind of forming these basing patterns like a spring, just getting pushed in on itself. Waiting for that breakout, whichever way it goes. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these coils like this. Morgan Stanley, I like it. I know you're thinking, well, look, it had this huge drop. That's what it did have. Now the buyers have popped in. If this comes back down and sets up for something in there, I would be certainly thinking about it. What were our earnings last time? I think they were okay, weren't they? 113. They reported 124. So they exceeded, but not as much as some. Oh, we'll see. Very nice. Yep. Microsoft. It's like, is it? Isn't it? It's trying. It's back above the 100. Testing around here. It's struggling a little bit. So we're not quite sure yet. But it's making steps. It's giving the old college try. MTG is one that I like and have traded, but the options are no good. So it's stock. You can see it's had just a little steady move on up. It looks like it's starting to ease up. That might be the end of the road. Netflix is showing some renewed signs of strength. NVIDIA, I like NVIDIA, but I think that I would be waiting for the next consolidation on that. OXY. Yeah, I mean, you can see it's bounced a little, but it's there seems to be a little bit of overemphasis in the energy, the oil, the energy, where they just haven't moved. PHM. So PHM kind of got taken off the list. This is the kind of thing that gets it back where you're thinking. And you're thinking, all right, it consolidated. If it breaks out, pulls back, that's what we need. Something like this, even where it gave you a trade there, another trade there, and it gives you some pretty good moves coming out of that. So that's definitely a possibility. PLTR also in Oh, that's what I've been waiting for it. This is one that I was like I said, if I didn't struggle, I was thinking real hard about this turn. I don't love one day consolidations. That's a weakness. I'm gonna have to evaluate why I struggle with those so much because that was a good turn. However, at this point, it's clearly moving. It's clearly out of whatever consolidation was left. Um, yeah, I mean, it could end up anywhere in this range, maybe even more. My thought is whenever it pulls back, I'm definitely going to look for that opportunity. I'm excited. It's nice to have. I mean, for a little bit there, we're just like watching things drop. Now it's like, hey, there's a few things that are giving us a little bit more ability to consider the upside. Love it. Absolutely. QQQ. Let me know if anyone else has a stock. I mean, this is a pretty broad list. We've got a lot of large companies representative of wide swaths of the market, particularly focused in chips and soft tech. We've got some we've got some consumer discretionary, got some industrial, we have some financial, we have a good smattering. But if you have one, let me know. Right, I'm always about taking a look. QQQ, there's that breakout again where we're seeing that movement. Yeah. 15 minutes left. We'll see here in a second how the quiz is going. RCL, my reluctance, I hope you're seeing, to include consumer discretionary is there's too many. Amazon, RCL, they're all still kind of in their consolidation path. There's been no point where we're like, whoa, look at that. Buyers coming in. Same thing happened back here where it's like it just sits and sits and then finally it busted out. Fine. Hopefully I get a chance, but if not, I can catch that one. I can catch that one. I can maybe even catch something in this area here. There's opportunity for us if we're patient. And if you ever want to trade the breakout, if you think, you know what, last time it broke out, if you think that it's going to be a nice breakout on volume, switch it up to a Heikin-Ashi candle. Put it on early enough, though. What does that mean, early enough? First, maybe second momentum candle. These little ones, transition, momentum. Right? That one was just straight to momentum. When we get a bigger body, no lower shadow, that tends to be the momentum candle. So you haven't run a sector performance for a while. Maybe we'll have time to smash through one real quick. CCJ. Okay. So you can kind of see it here. Let me, what time is it? 13 minutes. Yeah, we might be able to hit that. As we get towards the tail end. SMCI. That right there broke the consolidation up, pulled back, higher low. That's valid. If somebody traded that, valid. The Heikin-Ashi is almost ready to start tightening the stop. So I'd be able to put in a stop just underneath maybe even today's candle and then be ready to start moving it. SMCI, right? I think it looks quite reasonable. We're starting to see these patterns develop and take shape. SPY still moving higher. SYF, nothing there. It's underneath it's underneath the 200. Just made lower lows, lower highs. We're not interested if that's what it's doing. Tesla broke out. Would I trade Tesla or think about trading Tesla on a pullback to a higher low? Yes, UPS is trying, actually. That's my consolidation down there, maybe even steeper. Popping out of it. I think it could easily start to come back and move out once it's ready to go. UPST, not quite yet. But if this thing does break, I think that there's some potential here. For me to want to trade, I think that it's stabilized. That happened in 4 days. And then it's just been kind of stable. I need to see it break up, maybe get all the way up towards the 50, pull back, then I would be ready to go. Then it would actually look something very much like this right here, right? Up, down, that's the trade. And then we maybe can have something that we need to hang on to. Here's the VIX. The VIX is at new lows. Sorry, I didn't see the SPY. Where are we right now? 450.85. Okay, so we said 451.40 and above. It's got to get up here. So A's, it's a little off right now. B's, it's in a good place, unless all of a sudden it sells on down. 450.30 was the downside. Okay, it's gonna get there. We'll see. VP, U, and E. Okay, let's take a look. Wells Fargo. Come on. Nothing there for me yet. Williams Company's kind of dying. Okay, here's the XLs. Energy. Trying to move bullish, but there's not much there. Financials clearly breaking out. Right? Breaking out of their consolidation. Industrials breaking out of their consolidation. Staples, not much there. Utilities, not much there. So, yeah, I think we are going to see some sector rotation, move back in. Energy just sort of dying a little bit. Yeah. There's not a lot of new trades right now. You're either in it and managing it. Maybe you're trying to pick up with some aggressive stops. Trying to get into something late for just a couple of days. Let's take a look. VP. Is that right? Are those symbols, Dennis? Unity Software? You can see it's like a lot of things. It's trying to break out of its consolidation. I don't know if those are symbols or not. ENI. That one's at a new high, but it's kind of already there. So already bullish, but we would need to see some kind of a pullback. Yeah, let's do a sector rotation. I think I have my charts up here. Let me reload it. And let's just kind of see, right? You can see that there's energy, or there's communication services, technology, both strong, both pulled back, have turned up here recently. Consumer discretionary, those were our leaders for a lot of this year. Industrials came on late. Financials acted like it was going to, but you can see it never really did much. Down here at the bottom, we have utilities, we have financials, energy, staples. Now, all that's doing is just giving us our initial kind of like, all right, that's the big picture. As we start to zoom in, we're looking for clarity. Asking for about volume on Upstart. Okay. Sorry. More of the same. Technology still strong. Communication services still strong. This actually shows discretionary still doing okay as far as from this. This is not our primary. I'm really looking at the 66, the closest, but this shows more strength of the same three. Down here at the bottom, utilities, financials, not much out of those two. Staples down at the bottom. Healthcare down at the bottom. Let's drop down to 66 days. Okay, now at 66, we get a little bit of a shakeup. First things first, actually, the discretionary looks the best. Very interesting. Very interesting. Energy looks pretty strong. Industrials, communication services. Over this time frame, you can see that technology is actually pretty lackluster in this period of time. So it's gone through some sideways action. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta say, based on my watch list, maybe what this is telling me is I need to run a search of the consumer discretionary. I just happen to have that up. Let's just do a quick consumer cyclical discretionary, same thing. Yeah, you can see that there's some real strong things that I'm missing. I clearly have gotten complacent because there's some retail apparel doing very well here. American Eagle, Ross, TJ Maxx. Amazon, I still am a little iffy on. Marriott Hotels looks quite strong. Home Depot, maybe. So I think I do need to add some things. We already have Pulte. LI, maybe, for a auto manufacturer. Some of these we do already have in place. I would say that there's probably at least 4 or 5 things that we could add. A couple of retail. And here is a lodging, travel oriented. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. That's on me. To not have as much representation in the consumer discretionary space. I think that very much is true. So I'll need to update that. Really, it'd be a good time to go through searching in general. See what industrials has to offer. We have some industrial VRT we don't have. Electrical equipment, ETN, Eaton. Yeah, there's some strong ones. We do have Caterpillar. FedEx looks good again. GE, that's one of Bob's favorites. Looks strong. Yeah, you know what? Okay. Understood. I was a little lax with cleaning and adding to the watch list. Sometimes we get complacent. I think this is a good indication that that's what's happened. I think that there's some better things in here that I haven't been watching. So that's the challenge. I'm gonna recreate. I'm gonna do some watch list cleanup between now and Friday morning. Well, maybe it'll be weekend work. We'll see. Okay. Still happy with CVS short. Let's take a look at CVS for a short. Well, especially if you held it from here. Dropped. It's just kind of, I mean, it looks good. It looks like the buyers tried to come in. Sellers are coming. It's got to start moving, right? We should be falling out windows. If we're going to make money bearishly, this thing should be dropping. It should penetrate below 66.30 pretty quickly. And maybe it tests back down here, 64.5. Yeah. Okay. Well, we did a little sector rotation. Oh, no, we did not finish. Hold on. Let's drop down 22 days. In the last 22 days, what's leading? Energy and healthcare. Interesting. They're all kind of, I don't know. I don't glean much from that personally. Let's go see what. Oh, it looks like the bees are going to have it down. And then boom, bounced firmly back up into the B territory. With about 38 seconds left, I'm calling it early. B's, well done. Well done. I thought the sellers might try. Looked like the buyers could make a run at it, but it just sort of died. Hanging around near the top. Not bad. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Maybe there's one more day of buying. Maybe we have early buying followed by some selling. Whatever you have on for bullish trades, be thinking about what you're going to manage it. What are you willing to see? What are you not willing to see that would have you close the trade? I'll see everybody on Friday morning. Coffee, bring it. Come, hang out. That's the closing bell. I'll talk to you guys soon. And as always, happy trading.